Have you ever imagined a predator so fast it could reach the speed of a racehorse, but with demon horns on its head and teeth as sharp as razors? This animal actually existed. And no, I'm not talking about a mythological creature or a horror movie monster. I'm talking about one of the most extraordinary and bizarre dinosaurs to ever walk the earth. The Carnotaurus, a predator that chose a completely different evolutionary path. Discovered in Argentine Patagonia in 1984 by the renowned paleontologist José Bonaparte, the Carnotaurus quickly captured the imagination of both scientists and the general public. Its name means meat-eating bull in Latin, an obvious reference to the impressive horns that adorned its skull. But those horns are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this animal's unique characteristics. What makes the Carnotaurus truly special isn't just a single isolated trait, it's the complete set of adaptations that seem to contradict everything we know about large predators. How did an animal nearly 9 meters long and weighing over a ton manage to become one of the fastest dinosaurs ever discovered? How could arms so ridiculously small exist on such a successful predator? And what was the true function of those menacing horns? These questions have intrigued paleontologists for decades. Every new discovery and every fossil analyzed with modern technology reveals additional layers of complexity regarding this South American predator. The Carnotaurus lived during the late Cretaceous period, approximately 72 to 69 million years ago, at a time when South America was an isolated continent, developing its own unique and spectacular fauna. To truly understand the Carnotaurus, we need to dive deep into every aspect of its anatomy, behavior, and ecology. We need to unravel the mysteries that its fossilized bones have held for millions of years. Let's start with the basics, its dimensions. At about 9 meters long from the tip of its snout to the end of its tail and weighing approximately 1,500 kilograms, this predator was not the largest theropod to ever exist, but size, as you will discover, was never its main advantage. The Carnotaurus was all about efficiency, speed, and specialized adaptations. When we look at its complete skeleton, the first thing that catches the eye is its unusual body proportions. The skull is short and deep, completely different from the elongated skulls we see in other theropods like the Allosaurus or the T-Rex itself. This compact shape had a specific purpose: to maximize impact force while minimizing air resistance during high-speed runs.
And speaking of the skull, let's look at its most iconic features, the horns. Projecting above the eye sockets, these bony structures measured about 15 centimeters in length at the base and were formed by extensions of the frontal bones. But here is the fascinating detail that many people don't know. In life, these horns were likely covered in keratin sheaths, the same material that makes up our fingernails and the horns of modern rhinos. This means the visible horns could have been significantly longer and sharper than the fossils suggest. But what were those horns for? This remains one of the great open questions in paleontology. There are several competing theories for the most likely explanation. The first and most obvious is that they were combat weapons. Imagine two male Carnotaurus battling for territory or a mate. But there is another equally intriguing possibility: display. Many modern animals possess ornamental structures that serve primarily to attract partners or intimidate rivals without necessarily involving physical combat. In life, the horns of the Carnotaurus could have been vibrantly colored, functioning as visual signals during mating rituals. Perhaps both functions coexisted, as we see in many modern animals that use their physical traits for both combat and display. Moving down the skull, we reach the jaw, and here things get even more interesting. The Carnotaurus had about 62 teeth distributed across its upper and lower jaws. These teeth were relatively small compared to the size of the animal, but extremely sharp, with serrated edges like specialized steak knives. And here is a surprising discovery. The bite force of the Carnotaurus was not particularly impressive. Biomechanical studies estimate that its bite generated about 3,341 newtons, which is less than the bite of a modern tiger. So how did the Carnotaurus compensate for this apparent weakness? The answer lies in attack speed. The lightweight structure of the skull and specialized jaw muscles allowed the Carnotaurus to open and close its mouth with explosive speed. Think of it not as an animal that crushes its prey with brute force, but as one that delivers multiple, quick, precise bites, causing massive bleeding and shock. It's a completely different hunting strategy, but no less efficient. But perhaps the most extraordinary aspect of the Carnotaurus's anatomy is its vertebral column. The vertebrae were extremely flexible, especially in the neck and tail regions. This flexibility allowed the animal to turn its head with surprising agility, essential for tracking moving prey during high-speed chases. The ability to quickly adjust its line of sight and attack gave the Carnotaurus a significant advantage over agile prey. And we cannot forget the skin. Here we have one of the most extraordinary preservations ever found in a theropod dinosaur. The Carnotaurus fossil revealed detailed skin impressions, showing that the body was covered in a complex matrix of scales and osteoderms, bony dermal structures that formed a kind of natural armor. The scales were small and oval, densely packed like a protective mosaic. These bumps were not uniformly distributed, but followed specific patterns along the body.
Now we come to what is perhaps the most surprising characteristic of the Carnotaurus, its ability to run. When paleontologists first analyzed the structure of this dinosaur's hind limbs, they were absolutely astonished. The anatomical proportions and adaptations suggested something that seemed impossible for a predator of that size: extreme speed. Modern biomechanical studies using computer simulations and comparative analyses with modern animals estimate that the Carnotaurus could reach speeds of up to 55 to 56 kilometers per hour, approximately 35 miles per hour. To put that into perspective, that is roughly the top speed of a racehorse. We are talking about a 1.5-ton animal running faster than an Olympic human could ever dream of reaching. But how was this possible? The answer lies in a series of extremely specialized anatomical adaptations that transformed the Carnotaurus into a true racing machine of the prehistoric world. However, all that speed came at a significant cost: limited maneuverability. Biomechanical studies reveal that the Carnotaurus was essentially a linear runner. Its body structure, optimized for acceleration and straight-line speed, made it extremely difficult to make sharp turns at high velocities. Its center of gravity and mass distribution simply did not favor rapid changes in direction. This tells us a lot about how the Carnotaurus hunted. It wasn't a long-distance stalker like modern wolves, nor was it a traditional ambush hunter. The Carnotaurus was something in between, a specialist in high-speed, short-distance strikes. This is where the horns come into play in a way different from what we previously thought. At high speeds, the Carnotaurus could use its skull as an impact weapon, colliding with prey to knock it down or destabilize it. The horns would function as force concentration points, allowing the predator to deliver a devastating blow without risking serious injury to itself, thanks to its muscular neck and reinforced cranial structure. This hunting strategy would also explain why the Carnotaurus developed a relatively weak bite compared to other large predators. If the speed of the Carnotaurus is impressive, its forelimbs are absolutely baffling. The forelimbs of the Carnotaurus measured approximately 40 centimeters in length. In an animal 8 to 9 meters long, this is absolutely ridiculous. But the real shock isn't just the size, it's the functionality,
or rather the complete lack of it. The arms of the Carnotaurus were essentially bony stumps with no functional joints. There were no movable elbows. The fingers, if we can even call them that, were completely fixed. These limbs could not bend, grab, push, or perform any practical function we can imagine. They were, in essence, vestigial appendages, evolutionary reminders that the ancestors of the Carnotaurus once had functional arms.
This raises a fascinating question. Why did evolution keep these completely useless structures? One theory is purely mechanical and related to speed. Every gram of weight counts when you are trying to be the fastest runner in your ecosystem. Large, muscular arms mean additional mass at the front of the body, which could affect the center of gravity and reduce running efficiency. Over millions of years, the ABERRATIONs, the family to which the Carnotaurus belongs, may have gradually reduced their forelimbs as an adaptation to maximize speed and agility. Another intriguing possibility is that the arms had a function that isn't immediately obvious just by looking at the bones. Some paleontologists have suggested they could have served as anchor points for chest muscles, which were important for breathing during high-speed runs. Even without independent movement, the physical presence of the bones could have served a structural purpose within the animal's overall muscular system. If you enjoyed discovering all these fascinating details about the Carnotaurus, don't forget to leave a like down below. This simple gesture helps the channel grow immensely and shows me that you want more content like this. Seriously, it makes all the difference so I can keep bringing these incredible stories of prehistory to you. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the notification bell. That way you won't miss any new videos and will always stay up to date with the latest discoveries about dinosaurs, prehistoric creatures, and the fascinating mysteries of paleontology. There's new content every week, and I guarantee each video will surprise you as much as this one did. In fact, since you've made it this far and clearly enjoy this type of content, let me ask you a question. Which dinosaur do you want me to cover in the next video? It could be that giant predator everyone knows, or that bizarre herbivore that few people even know existed. Leave your suggestion in the comments, and who knows, your request might just become the next video on the channel. Thank you so much for watching until the end. It means a lot to me and shows that you are a true fan of paleoecology and dinosaurs. People like you are the reason I make these videos. I hope to see you in the next one, where we will dive into more incredible mysteries of the prehistoric world. A big hug, and see you on the next Jurassic adventure.